Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2011 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. Rubicon. Up front is a 3.8 liter V6, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Jeep Wrangler because I haven't driven this engine or spec here on the channel. I had a bunch of friends in high school that had Jeeps like this with the 3.8 liter, but I've never been able to film one. And so today we are remedying that here with the 2011 Unlimited Rubicon. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. Last but not least, huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Jeep Wrangler for today's video. More on them towards the end, but if you'd like to browse their inventory, you can do so down in the description below. But let's get back to that 3.8 liter V6. Well, this was the predecessor to the now still in production 3.6 liter V6. It makes about 205 horsepower, and it is a very middle ground engine. Nothing really significant came of it. This replaced the 4-liter inline-6, which in my own personal opinion was quite the downgrade, just in terms of reliability and strength, but it's still a fine motor. It does the job. It's a little bit of a lug, but that's okay. You weren't really looking for top speed when it came to the Wrangler, and as we'll talk about later on, all of this was new for the Wrangler at the time, so they were kind of dipping their toe in. I think the 3.6 liter is a better engine, but the 3.8 liter is here and functioning as it should. Like I said, paired to it is a laughable 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, 2011 is an interesting year because for 2012, they introduced the 3.6 as well as a 6-speed automatic. So this was the final year of this archaic setup. The 4-speed is ancient. In order to drive on the highway, you almost literally have to blow the dust off of it. It is not very happy. It's not very good. It's very outdated even by 2011 standards. This should have been left in the 90s, and yet it wasn't. Last but not least, this is 4-wheel drive. However, until 2011, they refreshed it for 2012. From 07 to 11, you could buy base model Wranglers in 2-wheel drive. Yes, they existed. Yes, they're very rare. Yes, Jeep ended up getting rid of that option for 2012 and onward, and now all Jeep Wranglers are 4-wheel drive. But you could have gotten it in 2. How does it feel to drive the Jeep Wrangler? Awful is a word. Terrible is another one I would use. I hate driving Wranglers. They are so harsh. They are so unforgiving. Now, of course, the flip side of this is that they are very good off-road, and I'm driving it on-road, but the on-road presence of Wranglers is horrible at best. It makes me feel as though I'm on the Oregon Trail and dysentery is in my near future. That's what it's like to drive the Wrangler around these streets. You sit up high, a little too high. They feel top-heavy. Every input is so aggressive. Little small movements of the steering wheel become sucker punches to your jaw and abdomen. It's not good, but that's what Jeep owners want. Jeep owners want that harsh ride. They want to feel like they're driving up onto the beach of Normandy, and this certainly gives you that experience, but I tend to like that experience to stay in the museum or in national historical sites. Now, the JL that came after this in 2018 really cleaned up the ride quality, if you could believe that. It still doesn't ride good, but it got a lot better. So if you are looking for an on-road daily driver, I would probably push you towards the next generation JL, but either one is still gonna have you rattling your teeth on a road trip. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is the fuel. In the center is the speedometer and tachometer, and off to the right is the coolant temperature. No screen here like you would find in the modern counterpart. On the steering wheel on the left, we do have voice commands, phone options, as well as our compass. And off to the right, we have our cruise control settings. To the left, we do have a climate control vent. We have our sway bar disconnect, as well as our axle lock. Very cool off-roady features there. And moving out of the door, we have the latch you get in and out and lock and unlock. that's it. Moving into the center, we do get a little cubby up at the very top and our infotainment. Now, this was semi-new for 2011. Having a touchscreen in a Jeep was very, very new, and again, that will feed into our final thoughts. It looks good enough. It works well enough. However, unfortunately, it does not have a backup camera. That would not come until later for the Wrangler. Down below that, you'll find 2 climate vents with the window switches. So the window switches are mounted somewhat high. They are in the center, so when you remove the doors, it just keeps all of the electronics here in the center, so you're not worrying about breaking any switches when you take the door off. I guess besides the lock and unlock switch, they've always done this, and still modern Wranglers have it in the center as well. And down below, we have our climate controls. Very, very basic here. Fan speed off to left, temperature in the center, and where to send it off to the right. We do have some interesting buttons down below. First of all, our power mirrors off to the left. Kind of interesting placement here. But we do have heated seats. We have traction control off, hill descent control, hazard switch, outlet on and off, passenger heated seat, and our 12-volt outlet. We do get a little net cubby down at the bottom. Not really sure how useful that is. We have our 4-wheel drive shifter off to the left and our transmission shifter off to the right with our overdrive off button. Then we do get cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the JKU, and it fails. Then we do get a wall outlet tucked up against the center console. That's what that outlet on and off switch is for. Similar was found in the Jeep Compass of the time. And then we have our center console. The seats are cloth. They are heated, however, they are manual. The JKU only ever had manual seats because Jeep couldn't figure out how to make waterproof power seats until actually pretty recently. The new JL can be optioned with power seats, but the JK never had that opportunity. They're fine. They're holding me in the chassis. Do they feel like lawn chairs strapped down to a radio flyer? Yeah, a little bit, but that's, again, what you would expect. Speaking of seats, however, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. I'm kind of torn on these handles. In theory, they're kind of cool, but they do take quite a bit of effort, and I could see over hundreds of thousands of miles this just getting kind of annoying to open and close. But anyway, getting up into the back of the Wrangler, really gotta watch your head on the roll bar. And here we are. My legs are gently hitting the seat in front of me. Don't worry about it. I had to clear cars off today and got salt all over me. Gosh darn it. We have cloth seats throughout. Nothing really interesting here. We have no center climate controls. We have window switches that I seem to be locked out of. Please tell me I'm not child locked. Oh, God bless. We have speakers up here. We do have a light in my face as well. But that's pretty much it. This is still a bare bones basic vehicle where the JL definitely feels nicer in the back. This is decent. Now, we will talk about that cargo space here in a second, but overall, I like it. And again, as I'll mention a lot of nostalgia back here. Man, the memories back here are flooding back in, which is sweet. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the JKU, another big button right here. Swing this tailgate open, and then you can lightly lift this glass up. Once we are back here, this is where, it does feel a little bit more bare bones and basic. We do get a little bit of storage down here. Love to see that. Oh, interesting. So these are bolt holders for the top, so you don't lose them. Very, very cool. Very smart thinking from Jeep. We do have a 12-volt outlet down here. Love that for inflatable rafts or things, But other than that, this whole hard top does, in fact, come off, which is very nice, and we'll talk about here in a second. Close this up, bring this around, close it. There you go. That's the back of a JKU Wrangler. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and it's hard to comment on the looks of a Jeep because they've always kind of looked the same. However, 2 important things. First of all, this is the JKU. So this is the JK generation of Wrangler. However, this was the first generation of Wrangler to offer a 4-door. Now, they had done extended wheelbase Wranglers in the past, and back seats were pretty much always standard for the Wrangler. However, not the 4 doors. This was the first generation to offer it. They debuted it in 2007. So here it is. And honestly, this has completely taken over the market. Most Jeeps I see nowadays are 4-door. It just just makes more sense. If you're going to spend all of the money on a Jeep, you might as well make it a little bit better for rear occupants. It's a much better experience, and you also get a 20-inch longer wheelbase. So a little bit less tippy, a little bit more stable. Some people like that, especially for daily driving. That 20 inches really makes a difference in the wheelbase as opposed to the standard two-door. So that is very cool. This also does have the removable hardtop, which was a very nice feature for 2011. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the JKU on the Shooting Cars channel? Well, I can't say that I overly love this Jeep. I do like it, you know, and I do have a lot of nostalgia with it as well. Like I mentioned, I had a bunch of friends in high school that had these. I was in high school from 2012 to 2016. And so a lot of kids had these. You know, I grew up in a decently well-off town, and so a lot of moms and dads bought the kids new Jeeps on their 16th birthday. I had a rusting out Dodge Ram with a soup can filling a hole where the O2 sensor had fallen through the exhaust, so I wasn't driving a new Jeep at the time. But a lot of my friends were. I got to drive them, you know, in high school when kids start drinking behind their parents' backs. I DD'd a lot of people in their own Jeep. So I had a lot of time with that. So, like, I love the nostalgia of it. I really, really enjoy that. As a vehicle, it's fine, but I think this is a rather important Jeep because this signifies the beginning of modern Jeep. Yes, the TJ that came before it was a good Jeep and felt modern, but this is what Jeep still is here today. We're still using a version of this here in 2026. The plastics feel the same in the new one as they do here. It switched to a V6 as opposed to the inline motors that it had used for ages and ages and ages. This now had a touchscreen infotainment. Now the new one has an even bigger touchscreen infotainment, but this started that trend. This started the trend of 4 doors. Now most Jeep sales are 4 doors. This started that. And so it's cool to be driving something that now has laid the blueprint for what we experience today. I have a lot of experience in the JL. I've driven tons and tons and tons of them. And this is sort of its ancestor. This is the genesis. This is where it started. And that to me is special. That to me is cool. While I might not outright love driving this, I have always respected the Wrangler. So here it is. 2011 Jeep Wrangler. The start of something new. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Jeep Wrangler for today's video. I also reviewed a 2019 Jeep Wrangler from them and did a comparison video. So if you're curious about the changes between the JK and JL, please go check out that video. North Naperville Autos is absolutely fantastic. They are Carfax certified. They offer financing and shipping to the lower 48 states. So if you are not in the Chicagoland area, you could still find your forever vehicle at North Naperville Autos. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.